Hello and welcome to this special program. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. COVID-19 has shaken up the world in more ways than one. While COVID-19 has given rise to new challenges and uncertainties, the pandemic has also yielded some valuable lessons. What we eat, our exercise habits, general hand washing and hygiene awareness, all have gained greater focus. While dealing with COVID, we overlooked the fact that people's lifestyles were severely disrupted. As a result, metabolic problems became more common, unhealthy eating habits, lack of physical activity, and the mental toll of quarantine isolation, even the fear of contracting the virus while visiting healthcare places, all have adversely impacted people with diabetes and heart diseases. A multi-sectoral approach promoting healthier diets, increasing physical activity can help in slowing down the diabetic epidemic and heart diseases that we're seeing now. This program, Beat Diabetes, Myths versus Facts, will do just that. And we have our medical experts joining us to share with you their advice on just how to lead a healthy life and monitor your conditions. Joining us today, Dr. Prem Dorji Bhutia, MD Medicine, FRCP Edinburgh, MACP USA, FEAC United Kingdom. He's a general physician, internal medicine with Neotia Get Well Healthcare in Siliguri. We're also being joined by Dr. T.C. Raja Sakarapani, MBBS MD, geriatric physician, assistant professor, Chengalpattu Medical College and Hospital. Also with us is Dr. A. Naga Srinivas, MBBS MD, general medicine, DM cardiology, FSCI, interventional cardiologist at Manipal Hospital, Bengaluru. Thank you all. Let me begin with you, Dr. Prem Dorji Bhutia. Just what are the symptoms and warning signs that anyone should be watching out for complications of diabetes? And if indeed some of those warning signs are there, then what can be done by the person?
Yeah, Ankita, initially you said rightly that during pandemic we had sidelined the diabetes. So diabetes, if you see, the complication depends on the organ affected. Like symptoms depends on the organ affected. If there's a problem with the eye or diabetes eye changes, what we call is diabetes retinopathy, patient will have symptoms of blurring of vision, difficulty in seeing. If there's a problem with the nerve, what we call is diabetic neuropathy, patient will have, a tingling, numbness, or a burning sore. Or and if there's a problem with the kidney, patient will present with pedal edema or high blood pressure.
Right.
And another is if there's a problem with the cardiovascular system, patient might come with the heart attack or even a brain stroke.
Okay, fair enough. That's a lot of things to watch out for then, but an important checklist that you're providing us with. Dr. T.C. Raja Sakarapani, how frequently should people with diabetes actually do blood glucose tests? And is self-monitoring at home sufficient for this? Is it also compulsory to do the HbA1c if a person is monitoring blood sugar daily?
How frequently the diabetic patient should blood sugar test? It's mostly depend on type of diabetes and the treatment what they are prescribed by the physician, and it also important to how to respond to the treatment. Then how the treatments are respond, we will evaluate them accordingly. Generally, all diabetic patients should do periodic blood sugar test at least once in 3 months. But effective test will be done by the physician as when required. But self-monitoring is not sufficient for the diabetic patients because the self-monitoring mostly useful to prevent the emergency situations, like to prevent hypoglycemia or extreme hyperglycemia. That's why.
Right.
that HbA1c, absolutely HbA1c is necessary.
Okay.
But HbA1c is not a value or number. It is mostly reflect the individual's 3 months average blood sugar.
Right.
That's why he is monitoring the diabetic patients whether blood sugars are controlled or not.
Okay, thank you for that. So you're saying that, that apart from the regular monitoring, which can help in emergency situations, there has to be, the regular home monitoring, there has to be sort of frequent professional lab testing as well. Dr. Naga Srinivas, due to COVID-19, many chronic health conditions seem to have been aggravated. Is there a particular type of cardiovascular disease that has also been aggravated by COVID-19 the most?
Yeah, basically there are two cardiovascular disorders which can be aggravated particularly by the COVID infections. One is destabilization of a chronic heart failure, and the other one is the precipitation of an acute coronary syndrome in an individual who is having a stable ischemic syndromes. So mainly the COVID infection, it not only precipitates a direct cardiac damage and causes a heart failure, but it also a pre-existing stable heart failure can be decompensated, and the individuals can go into a decompensated heart failure and get admitted for the hospital. Similarly, patients with a stable heart disease who are receiving medications or who have already received some stents or who have undergone a bypass surgery, again, they may develop an acute heart attack or an acute coronary syndrome.
Dr. Prem Dorji Bhutia, most people have heard that diabetes can lead to severe problems, including problems in the foot. Now, why does diabetes affect feet, and is there any way of preventing this?
Why we physician, the diabetologist, much worried about the diabetic patient is a diabetic foot, which is very, a very dangerous complication. Why? Because when I was talking about the complications of diabetes, there's two issues with the diabetic foot. One is a neuropathy. The another is a problem with the oxygen exchange in the leg. Why neuropathy? That whenever there's a diabetic nerve damage, patient will not have the pain sensation, or there will be a decreased pain sensation. So one will not be aware of the the injury or a cut or any injury sustained in the leg. So if somebody is not feeling the pain sensation, we'll have we'll have more complications of the complications to wound healing. Another is in a diabetes, the fat globules get clogged inside the artery, so the tissue perfusion or the oxygen exchange becomes hampered. So that way, with the decrease in the pain sensation and the oxygen exchange hampers in diabetes. So that way, patient will have a diabetic foot.
Right.
And an unhealed ulcer, and that leading to amputations at times. A patient will land up with the other complications.
Right, right. Dr. Sakrapani, let me in fact, ask you a follow-up on that. Tell us a little more about diabetic nephropathy, and, uncontrolled diabetes obviously leads to this. This is one of the regular complications of that. And is it in fact then a common consequence of diabetes?
Yeah, this is the long-term uncontrolled diabetes that definitely causes chronic loss of kidney function that will damage the filter system of the kidney. That's why protein loss in the urine, patient developed a diabetic nephropathy or a diabetic kidney disease. That diabetic kidney disease shows like lethargic, increased frequency of urination, mainly nocturia, and pedal edema, facial edema, and that extreme lethargic, and a shortness of birth. So is mostly diabetic nephropathy will develop 5 to 10 years after diabetic begins.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Thank you for that. We will take a very quick break currently on diabetes, myths versus facts, but lots more questions for our medical experts when we come back in just a moment. Welcome back to our special show, Beat Diabetes, Myths versus Facts. Dr. Naga Srinivas, one of the most frightening myths about heart attacks is that they will kill you. What is the truth? What are the chances of survival after a heart attack?
Yeah, nearly 25% of the heart attack patients, they die before reaching the hospital. It is true. The sudden cardiac death is a major thing. And 25% of the people who sustain a heart attack, they may die before reaching the hospital. Yeah. But having said that, definitely the heart attack, it causes the damage to the heart muscle. And the prognosis of these individuals who sustain this heart attack is definitely much worse when compared to those without the heart attack. It definitely shortens the lifespan.
Right, 25% is a staggering number, and yes, you put this into very serious context for all those who are prone perhaps to heart disease. But Dr. Bhutia, why is it so important for people with diabetes to control their blood glucose levels along with blood pressure and cholesterol as well? We often talk about sort of interlinkages between diabetes and heart diseases.
See, whoever has diabetes along with high cholesterol and hypertension, it's a kind of double-edged sword. The chances of target organ damage, like I told you, the eye changes, nephropathy, retinopathy, and the heart disease, heart attack, and the cerebrovascular accident, brain stroke, is more who has diabetes, high blood pressure, and the high cholesterol. So this is a kind of, I told you, it's a double-edged sword.
Right. Dr. Sakrapani, obviously diet plays an important role in managing diabetes, but what kind of diet patterns would you suggest for those who are trying to manage diabetes, especially for those who are continuing to work from home at this point?
Sir, as per the diet pattern, that diet meal plan is very important. So everyone should maintain calories 1200 to 1600 calories per day. So not exceed the calories. So I preferably is in my patients to take low caloric intake diet or low glycemic intakes instead of high caloric or high glycemic intakes. That's better to avoid added sugar, sweetening agents, and processed cook and maida items is better to avoid. In addition to diet, to take proper water intake is mainly needed, and patients in work from home that mostly deficient with hypovitaminosis D, because when the vitamin D is mainly source of sunlight exposure. So I will suggested diet pattern is 3 major meals and 3 snacks with proper water intake, with proper sunlight exposure, and some taking, instead of taking high carbs, so you take the cereals, pulses, right, and vegetables, and low glycemic index fruits, and skimmed milk is better to take.
Okay, all right. Lots of advice there, including sort of 3 square meals, 3 smaller meals perhaps, and exposure to sunlight as well. Thank you for all of those tips. Dr. Naga Srinivas, heart attacks, as we just discussed, can be dangerous and fatal, but some people also do get minor heart attacks. So what does that mean? Is that a warning sign if you get a minor heart attack? And what really is the difference between a major and a minor heart attack?
See that the major and minor depends upon the amount of the myocardium that is damaged, the heart muscle that is damaged.
Okay.
In a minor heart attack, the amount of the myocardium that is damaged is very small or negligible. Whereas in a massive heart attack or a major heart attack, it is the large amount of muscle, more than 25% is involved. So the minor attacks usually happen when there is an occlusion to the major epicardial coronary artery very transiently, that is less than 15 to 20 minutes. Or sometimes a minor heart attack can happen when the small branch of the major vessel is occluded. Or sometimes what happens is there is a subtotal occlusion of a major vessel, then it can also result in a minor heart attack.
Thank you for clarifying that for us. Dr. Bhutia, this question for you. We're seeing relatively younger people now getting diagnosed with diabetes. what are the reasons behind this? Can lifestyle modification work for this age group, or do they have to take medicines as well?
Yeah, Ankita, we are talking about the type 2 diabetes. The type 2 diabetes in elderly. The days were there when the diabetes used to be in elder people, but now we are seeing there's a huge the paradigm shift in the diabetes, because we are getting the diabetes among the age group 18 to 40 in younger age group, because of the sedentary life, smoking, stressful life, and because of the alcohol intake also, and lots of stress also. That's why the younger age group between 18 to 40 are getting more diabetes these days.
Right. Dr. Sakrapani, should persons with diabetes check the dosage that's prescribed by the physician, especially when they're working from home, they've put on additional weight, even if they can't necessarily go back for a physical consultation? How often should they be sort of monitoring the dose that they're taking?
Yes, definitely, madam. Thus, nowadays, drastically decrease in physical activities as well as increasing stress in work from home patients. That will increase the weight gain. This leads to increased weight gain, and also some of the oral diabetic drugs and insulin cost slightly increases the weight. So better to consult nearby physicians according to proper calories and a proper diet pattern. In addition, do regular physical activities and a diet pattern along with proper medications. So some small tips is leisure time physical activity. I encourage all my patients, because leisure time physical activity is not included in essential activities of daily living, but you have some helpful regarding expenditure, that substantial energy expenditure. So like spending with kids with game, cycling, swimming, sports, dancing, gardening, so everything is useful in leisure time.
Right. So the more active you are, the better, it will be for you. Dr. Srinivas, how important is it to manage hypertension in order to reduce the risk of heart disease? What advice can you share for the better management of hypertension?
Yeah, hypertension is one of the biggest risk factor for coronary disease. And it is in fact the number one risk factor for the development of not only heart attacks, but also the strokes. Because 99% of the hypertension, it is asymptomatic. That's why it is referred to as a silent killer. So you need to check your blood pressure numbers very frequently, at least once in 3 months, to know whether you are having a hypertension or not. Once you are found to be having a hypertension, even if it is mild, it has to be controlled with an appropriate either a pharmacological or a non-pharmacological measures.
All right. So once again, we come back to the point that frequent monitoring is perhaps key in home management of diabetes and hypertension. Thank you all for joining us on this special program. And thank you, viewers. We hope your questions have been answered. That's all we have time for. Thanks for watching.